I'm Benga Bada, well known as Baron, and with me today to speak to our special guest is the one and only Tomi Falade.
Hello.
Now let's go straight into it. We have a special guest, as I've been saying. I mean, when I mention his name, you would tell that he's actually a special one. He's done it from the unthinkable to the highest pinnacle, of his career. So to say, I mean, they say it's beyond the sky now. It's no longer the sky is above, is your limit, but it's now beyond the sky.
It's the starting point, actually.
Okay, starting point now. We have in the studio today someone who started young. A lot of people didn't even know until he told us that he's actually a trained lawyer. And not just trained though, he understands what he went to school for. Then we all knew him as that Yoruba actor at some point. We knew him in one very, very big classic called Oh Blow. Then he came again. He did a bit of comic reliefs for us. He started farting around. You guys would have an idea of who I'm talking about. He started farting about. Then all of a sudden, it just came quite. It just went straight down to what we never thought he could achieve, and he achieved it when it went quite epic. And he went big. He didn't just go to do epic film. He went actually big about it, and that tells you about somebody going after his passion, doing it very well, and believing in himself. We have no other in the studio than the famous, the award-winning, the only Femi Adebayo. Woo!
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Later, amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. How's it been, Adebayo?
Well, we give God the glory. It's been, real awesome all the way. Thank you.
I mean, from the things I said, you can tell that if one looks at your trajectory, from your younger days to still managing to finish the university, coming back to it, I mean, films, movies and all that, and doing very well at it. When you came back, didn't you feel, I mean, I've gone to school, I'm not a lawyer, what's the point with this acting thing? I mean, didn't you feel that way when you returned?
Well, okay, let me actually start this way. I think the accolade should be for my father, being in the industry. When we were young, you would just want to do what your parents do then. And that was how I got interested into acting, And I remember, if I'm actually meant to say, okay, when did you start acting? I can tell you it's about 39 years ago.
Wow.
39?
Because I started as far back as 1985.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the first movie that I can actually remember, that I acted in, Jagun Jagun, my father's film. And I can't actually remember whether we were used as baby props at some point in time, but I could remember that vividly, But the one you mentioned, Oh Blow, was 1996.
Yes.
That was the first time I had the opportunity of playing a lead character in a film. That was Stadio Gideon movie.
Yes.
But my acting career was a hobby for me. I just want to do what my dad is doing. It was a hobby. I had wanted to be a lawyer all my life.
Okay.
So and I pursued that. And that is a kind of father that is not ready to influence your decision on whatever you want to become in life. So, and I went ahead to be a lawyer, and I remember vividly while we were filming as far back as 96, Tadiq asked me, what are you going to the school to study? Because I had not gotten admission into the university
at that time. Okay.
I got admitted in 97. So, and I said I was going to study law. He said, "You might waste time, You better go and study theater." I said, lie. I want to be a lawyer. And the love for me being a lawyer is me standing before the courts of law to say, may it please your lordship, and the buyer for me for the defendant. That's all. So I did practice for 2 years after I was called to bar.
Okay.
Interesting. I left entertainment. So I was doing acting for a hobby, then my profession
was law.
So the funniest thing was I was getting more fulfillment when it comes to passion and numbers from acting than law. But I love law and I want to go back to law. So I went back to school to have a master's in law.
Wow.
Thinking
Your first degree law?
Yeah.
And second law?
Degree law, yeah.
Interesting.
So I was thinking, okay, maybe I can actually pick up at least, even if it's a lecturing job that could help me with practice so that I can make more money. But it's not looking that way. So that was when I say fully I came back into the industry.
Okay.
Right. So coming back to your question, when I came back, so it was easy because I had a platform, you know, and I said, okay, I can easily do it better, you know. So that was how I started the journey. But I had a goal. I had an achievement. I had a motive. I had where I was going. I had a focus. But it took me a while before getting there.
Okay.
To do that.
So would you say that the Oga Bello that we know and love was intentional about you becoming an actor? Was it eventually because of the push from him that you eventually chose acting? I mean, I know you said that you found more fulfillment, but you know, at the starting point, was it because your father was Oga Bello? That's
indirectly.
I mean, what was his impact in your decision?
His impact is indirect. He wasn't expressly.
Okay.
You know, because he never knew. You know, we see models in our parents.
Okay.
So that was how he indirectly came into me deciding that I want to be an actor. Do you understand? But he would expressly mention that study what you wish to study. And I have like 4 of my siblings in the entertainment industry now. None of us studied theater arts. None. Yeah. So that is to tell you that it would never influence you to, you know, come into the entertainment world, you know. So it was after we graduated from the first degree, you know, me second degree, I started deciding to have, you know, educational qualifications in this field. Did some courses, you know, and continued to do in this industry. So that's it.
Okay, so I mean, while I was introducing you, I said something, and it was intentional because your cross from Jelili Uniso to Ageshinkole, you know, it's
sudden.
It's quite sudden, and you're looking at somebody who we all thought, oh, is just following this comical trend and going with it, and all of a sudden you just start for a while. We didn't really see you do your thing. You just had a bit of other people's feature in other people's stream, and then you just came boom, and it was on a big streaming platform.
Yeah.
What was happening in your head at that time from Jelili to Ageshinkole?
So did it just happen? Like I said, that I had it all planned out, you know, and as an actor, I realized that many producers were using me either as a lover boy then or a wife beater. You know? And I was like, I want people to see the versatility in me. You know, I can play any role. So I used that opportunity as a producer to always produce my movie coming with different characters. So that was why I started with Jelili. So after Jelili, I came up with Sonto Alapata. It was totally different.
Yeah.
Came up with a Tiku Onigedu, was totally different. You know, but like I told you that I had a focus, and that took me to the big screen when I had the opportunity. You know, so I felt like I want to get the recognition internationally. And I took my time to study the contents we make from Africa. You know, contents that you make from Africa that are not indigenous don't get that attraction internationally.
True.
So I felt, okay, telling our stories, you know, well packaged in international standard would get attraction that I need. And that was why I went back, you know, sit down and said, let me start producing epic movies that has our own story on a big scale. It was a risk. You know, Nigerians will not appreciate their things. So that was the risk I took in Ageshinkole. But to God be the glory, it was appreciated. And, you know, you can tell that almost everybody is taking that route now.
Yeah.
Okay, so, sorry, a follow-up to that. I noticed that some epic film from Nigeria, even from other parts of Africa, you know, will come, the whole setting, everything is epic, but the language of communication would be in English. Was it intentional for you to remain, to have that Yoruba remain in the language of communication for your epic films?
So if I have chosen to produce a Yoruba content in an English language, then I have failed producing that culture that I want to, tell the entire world about. Okay, so we were young when we saw many Indian films in their languages, and we loved them.
Yes.
And we have not stopped till now.
True.
So why can't I sell my own language to the world? I would never. If my movie is not going to be full Yoruba, it's not full Yoruba.
Okay.
But if I'm telling a Yoruba story, it's just like coming up with something like Bashonuga that Bolanle did in English language. It won't have that originality like it does now. No, so I think it should. I saw Afemefuna. It was an Igbo film. I appreciated it because it was pure Igbo language. And that was not even Igbo epic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So imagine they did an Igbo epic in that kind of language, you would appreciate it more.
Yeah.
True.
That's the way I feel.
Okay. So looking at your evolution as an actor, you have over the years we've seen you in different roles, as you said, and you said it was deliberate. You were mapping something out. Do you think that you could have pulled off what you did with Ageshinkole and the rest of your films back in the day if you had started earlier? Do you think that your evolution, they say practice makes perfect. I want to ask that, do you think that your practice over the years of the craft of acting, do you think it has improved you as a person and as an actor? Do you think that if you had to try to do this back then, you would have achieved the same success that you did?
Well, we improve every day.
Yeah.
All right. But I can tell you that as an actor, I would achieve the same thing then as an actor. All right. The business part, I might not be able to say yes to it.
Okay.
So we're getting more recognized internationally by having platforms like Netflix, Prime Video, and our contents started getting appreciated. That, gave me the courage to risk that kind of figure in Ageshinkole. That does not mean that if I act Ageshinkole now, I might not do it better.
True.
So with that is to tell you that we improve every day. Well, the appearance of Ibrahim Chata at the end of Jagun Jagun was obviously a signal for a sequel.
True.
It was obviously a sequel. And a signal for a sequel. So there's a sequel, right? And I can tell you the sequel is not a series. Okay. Right? It's going to be just a feature film, But I don't know what eventually, be the end of that. What I can tell you is that Jagun Jagun 2 is not a series, and by His grace, it should be out next year. It's a Netflix original film, so I actually don't have the power to determine what time it's coming. But what I can just tell you as a producer is that it's coming up next year. But before next year, I have a project that is bigger than Jagun Jagun 1 that is coming this year. I think the agreement on each content varies, and it's that's more of distribution than any other thing, Okay, so from the beginning of pre-production of Jagun Jagun 2, I eventually know where it's going. That's an agreement on the content. So the agreements on different contents might be, just a few days at the cinemas and you move on to the platform. So, and of course, agreements must be obeyed. Yes. So it varies. Ageshinkole was at the cinemas for almost 7 weeks or thereabout before he actually moved to Prime Video. There was an agreement. Jagun Jagun did not go to cinema at all. Yeah. Do you understand? So it depends. Each movie has different agreements. But I think whether the platform or cinemas, what is important is for the content to get to the audience. Cinema culture is fine, beautiful. It's more of you having fun than you just going out to watch a movie. Than you just watching the movie. But the act of you going out with your friends, your partners, your family is what we enjoy at the cinema more. Yeah. And sometimes when you watch movies, together at the cinema, you get the vibe, you feel the vibes more than you just watching at home. So it's different. But that, just like you mentioned, there are more than enough contents for the cinemas. Trust me. Okay, so as regards to the project that I mentioned, the project, first off is that I took it upon myself that as a Yoruba man, I want the entire world to know about my culture. And I have a platform to do that, which is creating content, not only movies, So I took that upon myself. Reason I would, if I'm meant to produce 10 films, I'll prefer 6 of it to be indigenous content, right? So, as a promoter of culture, my next movie that I said is bigger than Jagun Jagun is titled 7 Doors, And it's actually set in 2 eras. It was set in the 18th century and the 19th century. So that means we have the old school setting where we have those 504s, the Volkswagen, then. And you also it also takes us back to that kind of Jagun Jagun setting.
Okay.
So it's a mixed one, and it's a mixed, it features, multi-tribes.
Okay.
It was a Yoruba Oba married to an Igbo woman, an Hausa man coming to invest in the, so it has, it plays around Nigerian culture, so for me, I won't stop at that. So I can tell you that Jagun Jagun is a movie that I actually produced that the entire world was like, wow. But I can tell you, trust me, to answer your question, the movie that I produced that I never thought it was going to have the accolades it got was Ageshinkole. Yeah, it was a risk, and it was the first major one. So I never believed it was going to get the accolades it got, because even the cinemas gave me a date. It was a Ramadan period.
True.
And I was like, how will people come to the cinemas? At least you can tell that like 70% of the Muslims won't come to the cinemas. Do you understand? But I was shocked. The way people appreciated it during that time. So if as at the time the tickets were like 2,500 naira and I made like 322 million naira at the box office, so people appreciated it. You actually just mentioned the greatest nightmares I have in my career. Success. They are the greatest nightmares I have in my career, because I see that now. How do you maintain that? How do you grow more? So it doesn't make me sleep. I see them as motivations. You have to do more. So when I get, the accolades, I get some bed. Sometimes I won't be able to sleep. And my wife suffers that a lot. I just go, babe, wow. How are we going to surpass this? So those accolades are actually nightmares for me. Wow. And despite that, I still pray to get more of it. So it keeps me on my toes. After Ageshinkole, I was like, what am I going to do again? But fortunately or unfortunately, I had Jagun Jagun script before I had Ageshinkole script. But Jagun Jagun is bigger than Ageshinkole. So I did a test run with Ageshinkole.
Okay.
You understand? In terms of investment. Do you understand? So it's great motivation for me when I get, accolades, awards, nominations, And if you could recollect, all I was saying on AMVCA stage was thank you. Thank you. We are coming more. We are coming stronger. So that's what it is for me.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the biggest legacies that your family currently has is, aside the people, of course, is that you're a film family. You're a filmmaking family, and that's why a lot of people ascribe a lot of respect to your family. Now, are you under pressure in any way to continue that legacy? Because you are a second generation, I assume, a second generation filmmaker. Now, do you feel the pressure to, continue that trend in your family? That's one. And then a lot of actors are currently trying to get into the international space. And just like you said, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I remember that some actors were saying that they are trying to get into the Essence Film Festival and, do big things in Hollywood. Do you think it's going to cause a brain drain here? Because if we have our best hands, for example, pursuing international recognition, they sort of forget the audiences back at home. Do you think that that's going to cause a brain drain with us in Nigeria?
Those are 2 questions in one.
Yes.
All right. So first, I'm not under any pressure. Okay. Right. So, though it's my prayer, for the legacy to continue, but it's not even looking like that. None of my children is even looking, they're not even looking that way.
Maybe
Tokwe, Sadiq are my siblings, they're my brothers. So, but when you talk about my children, they are not even looking that way. Maybe their children, perhaps, it's our prayer, but we are actually not under any pressure, And talking about, actors, producers wanting to get into the international space, how it will affect. For me, I think it is creating room for more fantastic actors and producers to spring up. That's the way I see it. All right, so there are some scripts that I get now that I decline because I believe that if I decline it, it will give opportunity for the up-and-coming ones. Oh, Femi is not available. Who is next?
Okay.
So that is the way I see it. So if some people move, some people they fill in the space. So I don't think it will tell on the industry. All right, so I had the opportunity of being the special assistant to the governor of Kwara State on art, culture, and tourism. Then the former, governor of Kwara State, His Excellency Dr. Abdul Fattah Ahmed, and the appointment came based on my achievement in my industry, and that was why the portfolio was art, culture, and tourism. If I had gotten a portfolio like on engineering, on accounting, then I would actually have declined. Yes, because I will obviously not function in that portfolio.
Okay, I noticed, over time, you've been gradually going into governance in some little space. I don't want to call it politics. I want to say governance.
Let's call it governance.
Let's leave it as governance. So, are you looking at doing that more, maybe in later years? And how has it been, moving from a regular artist to governance?
I saw that as a call to serve, and I did, and I left. All right. So I think the industry needs me more than the governance. And I think my passion is more in the industry than the governance.
Okay.
We never can tell. Another call to serve might come. If it's actually not going to affect where my passion is, I would obviously, take it. But going into full governance is not my dream.
Okay, I know. There's this thing everybody says: what is worth doing well is what doing at all is worth doing well.
Yeah.
Can you share with us some of your achievements? When you were given that public task.
Okay, so when I got into office, I realized that Kwara State has so many beautiful cultures that the entire world do not know. I realized that we have so many beautiful tourist attraction sites that so many people do not know. Like the old waterfall is the highest waterfall in West Africa.
Wow.
It's in Kwara. So the first thing I did was to, with the permission of His Excellency, then try to put together a documentary at an international standard to impress and invite international investors to make these places a site that will be attractive. I say thank you to the governor then. We did it. We brought investors. But when hands change in governance, it might not work again.
True.
All right. So I also saw those beautiful cultures that so many people do not know. Okay, like in Kwara, there's a particular community that all the women that intends to marry at the particular must marry the same day.
Wow.
It's called a one mass wedding. These are cultures that so what I did, I put together a live stage performance that featured A-class artists. We had the likes of Odunlade Adekola, we had Yabo Joe, we had Faithia, we had all of them came live to Kwara to put themselves in the pictures of these cultures and displayed it. So the governor was excited about it and made it an annual event. We tagged it as Shower.
Okay.
So luckily, while I was in the office, we also celebrated Kwara at 50. You know, so there are so many things I put together, and I realized that what majorly Kwara State actually lacked entertainment. So I was able to use, you know, my good office to bring in so many things that, you know, and also I was opportune to had liaised with the then Minister for Culture and Tourism, which was Alhaji Lai Mohammed,
yes.
also from Kwara.
Yes.
Okay. So we synergized and, you know, made all these things easy for us to actually do.
Okay, so you belong to two sides of two sectors that people naturally run to for aid when they are in need. You are a celebrity, and you're also in governance, as Baron put it.
I was in governance.
You were in governance, but one way or the other, some people will just assume that you are a politician in whatever capacity. And so you fit into the two categories that people naturally come to for aid. How do you handle the constant pressure for, either on social media or physically, that people come to you for constant money or help, or they simply call you out to say, oh, this person is going through this, can you help? This person is going through, I'm sure you get those DMs all the time. How do you handle that pressure in between that?
Well, that is what I call being honorable, you know, and I think it should be done more silently than, you know, being loud about it. You know. In as much as we are in the showbiz, whatever you do must be shown as the industry, you know, depicts. But I prefer to do that in a very low key. I get it, but we can't rule out the fact that there is hardship in Nigeria. You know, how it became this hard, you know, some of us can tell, some cannot tell. You know, we might be getting it wrong, you know, but the truth is there's hardship. You know, so with the little that I have, I share silently, you know, but I also do not like to be, you know, influenced by me being called out to do something in particular. You know, that means I actually didn't do it within, my heart. I want to do it when it comes from me, you know, from the inside of me. So there are pressures, we manage it, you know, but sometimes you don't blame people. You know, but being human, you know, some people come at the wrongest time, and you'll be like, guys, you have to chill. If you don't feel it, you know, but we give glory to God, we do it.
Okay, I know you said you had a plan that you took and you followed all through your career, which is still ongoing.
Yeah.
I want to find out. I know you are involved in producing, you're involved in directing also.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide, okay, I will still act, but it's time for me to start producing my own films? At what point did you decide, okay, I will still act, but it's time to start directing my own films? And what has been the experience like, you know, coming from an actor's background to now become a producer, to now become a director?
Okay, so it's a chain. For me, in my own career, it's a chain. You know, like you mentioned, the actor, producer, director. All right. So, coming as an actor, I realized I have to quickly run into producing to be able to showcase the versatility in me. That was why I told you that people call you when they see you play a good husband. That's the only thing they will continue to cast you for. And before you know it, you're stereotyped.
Yeah, very true.
You understand? So I observed that, and that motivated me that, Femi, you have to produce a film and play roles that people have not seen you play before.
So it's a sort of marketing.
That was how I moved to producing. All right. So at some point in time, the directing part of my career is very recent. All right. So it's the director's film. So I was getting to a point that I realized that the picture I have, my directors used to bring it out, but sometimes it can be influenced.
Yeah,
true.
And I don't want it to be influenced. So I can tell you for free that my directorial debut is 7 Doors that is coming up.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just felt, okay, man, you get to get this clear. I was just lucky to have directors like Adebayo Tijani and Tokwe Adebayo who would actually want to bring out what I I've pictured. Well, what if I come across a director that says, okay, I want to change it? I won't be able to say anything. It's the director's film.
Very true.
And that motivated and graduated me to being a director.
So how has it been on the set? Or I don't know if you started shooting for 7 Doors.
We're done with post-production.
So how does it feel?
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Well,
sitting on that chair and calling the shots.
Are you in the film as an actor?
Yes, I'm the film.
Okay,
so I had co-directors.
Okay.
So it wasn't my shot alone. I had co-directors. Well, it was more tasking, but for me, it was more fulfilling because I had the picture, and I have a say over the picture that I had. So it was tasking but fulfilling for me.
Okay.
So, some people say one of the things that happen in Nigeria, quote and unquote, because I know that even happens in Hollywood. One of the things that happen in Nigeria is because you think about the remuneration and you're thinking, oh, I want to give director money, I want to give producer. Let me just stay as an actor. Let me just stay as an actor.
We don't pass that level.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'll take you to your statement about the fact that you had done your trajectory as an actor. You've evolved. You've as a producer now. You've conquered. You've done comic acting. As an actor, you've done comic acting. You've done epic acting. What's the next stop for Femi Adebayo? What's the next?
As an actor?
Yes, as an actor, and also as a producer. Actually, what's your next conquest? What's the next thing you want? What's the next kind of film you want to make that you think that has not been done?
Well, that has not been done might be difficult to answer.
Okay.
But of course, my next is I've made people see the cultural part of Femi Adebayo.
Yes.
So I want to make people see the total, Tush part of Femi Adebayo.
Okay.
So that's a guy that was born in the States, that does not actually even know how to speak Yoruba, as an actor, right? And as a producer, I need to make it clear to people that I am a producer, not an epic film producer.
Okay.
I'm an actor, not an epic actor or a comedian.
Actor.
So of course we're working towards that, but we have to hone the space. The one in which we are now, we have to hone the space, get it locked before we move on.
Okay, I know you've spoken about him, but again, we cannot have a conversation with you without talking about your dad. I read somewhere that there was one film you acted with your dad, and you had, your role had to slap your dad, and it was, you had to, like, after you heard cut, you had to say that there might be something to do with, I understand that with the job. So I want to find out, how does it feel acting opposite him, one? Then two, who is Adebayo Salami at home growing up for you?
Okay, so in a few years back, acting with Daddy was like you doing a presentation before your lecturer. You can imagine. So you are more careful. So that incident you mentioned actually happened in Funke Akindele's film Taiwo. I was a thief. Okay. I went to rob him. It wasn't in the script that I have to slap him, but the character was an aggressive thief, and the man didn't want to give us money, and I just realized that I raised my hand and hit him. And so when I begged him after the scene, it was like, you can imagine.
Interesting.
So it's more of, will you do it right? So I'm more conscious when I acted some years back. But now, we have grown and we know the right thing. You can even tell him that you're my buying latin now. So that's it for us. But Adebayo Salami at home, honestly, is a fantastic father. Is a father that I would always want to ask the Almighty to come through him anytime I want to come back to this world. He's extremely understanding. He's also disciplined, and he's responsible. It might be shocking to tell you that he has over 21 children.
Wow.
And he insisted all of them must be graduate because he never went to the 4 walls of a university. And we are all graduates. You know, so that is to tell you how responsible he is. You know, so, and I think the major thing you want to watch out for in your father is he must be responsible. You know, and till tomorrow, all his wives will still want to be around him. So he obviously is not perfect, but he's got I think what I can give him like 95%. That is awesome. So and it's my interest to say that he's my best friend.
Wow.
He's my confidant. We gist a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the there's a sort of what I can't find the right word now, but there's this I don't want to use the word stigma now that people put that say, oh, this person is a Yoruba actor, this person is an English actor, or this person is a Nollywood actor, this person is a Yoruba actor. What's your take on this? What's the word now? This not stigmatization. The way they separate actors, put actors into boxes in the industry. What's your take on it? Stereotypes. Thank you.
Well, I think the major work is on us actors to change that notion. You know. And our contents are showing it now. We have so many English actors that want to be in Yoruba films now and speak Yoruba.
True.
A major one is Kunle Remi. He doesn't speak Yoruba fluently before he acted Anikulapo. He got himself a Yoruba coach to play that role.
Wow.
You know, and we have likes of that. In Jagun Jagun too, you'll be seeing full English actors, Hausa actors that are presently undergoing coaching in Yoruba language.
What?
So that is to tell you that it's changing. So from the content we give people, we will change that. Notion about it. So yeah.
Okay, so
keep going.
Okay, so I know this will be my last question. I don't know if it's because we're enjoying it, and I'm certain that the listeners are really enjoying
questions.
But so finally, for me, I saw your tweet one time. You listed 5 films, and you gave your reasons. Can you share with us those films again? And I noticed there was Ageshinkole, there was Jagun Jagun, there was Jelly. I can't remember the last 2, but you specifically said in your career, these 5 films defined your career, and as an actor, the roles you played in each of those films actually defined your career.
I think the fact has spoken for itself. Those films that I mentioned at some point in time in my career, bring the huge fan base, and people get to talk about it. They are my major blockbusters, and obviously will not leave my head. It will not leave me. So that's why I said those films are special to me. Yeah. In
one sentence, because we are totally run out of time. What would you say before the advent of big money streaming platforms? Would you say filmmaking was profitable?
No.
Thank you very much.
More passion than the profit then. But now I can say we're getting there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi Adebayo. Barrister Femi Adebayo. We're hoping to see your chambers very soon.
And as a judge or a SAN someday.
Thank you very much for coming to the studio. We love having you around. We hope we will still have you around some other time. Thank you. And thank you for actually responding to our questions and giving us insights, without holding anything back. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, our listeners. Once again, it's a beautiful edition of Nollywood on Radio. I am Benga Bada.
And Tomi Falade, Lifestyle Editor, Daily Independent.
Thank you. Till next week.